Twice this week, the U.S. ambassador to Canada has been telling Canadians about his great disappointment. He has said, Pete Hoekstra has said twice that the United States had hoped for a bigger deal with Canada than just the CUSMA, than just the USMCA. He said they had hoped for a deal that encompassed critical minerals, steel, energy, nuclear, but it wasn't possible. So he said this to two audiences this week. What's your side of the story?
One question. That was all it took to shift the focus of an international press conference. For days, comments from U.S. Ambassador Pete Hoekstra had sparked discussion across Canada. He spoke openly about what he viewed as growing frustration with the state of the Canada-U.S. relationship and suggested that a much broader agreement between the two countries was still possible. Then the conversation reached Prime Minister Mark Carney. Standing beside Mexico's president after announcing a major strategic partnership, Carney was asked to respond directly. It wasn't just another media question. It was a chance to explain where Canada now stands as trade negotiations continue. His answer wasn't emotional. It wasn't confrontational. Instead, it was measured, confident, and remarkably clear. For Canadians who have watched decades of negotiations with Washington, it was a reminder that confidence doesn't always need to be loud. Stay with us, because what Carney says next helps explain how Canada intends to approach every major negotiation going forward.
That bigger deal that's in the interest not just of the United States, but in the interest of the Canadian people is not on the table. But it's still possible. What is the fact is that Canada and Mexico have the best actual trading relationship, trading agreements with the United States. First point. Second point is that a process is just beginning with reviews in each of our country, consultations in each of our country, of how that relationship can be improved. And while those consultations are going on, of course, we're having bilateral discussions with the United States, so you may see improvements along the way. We have the ambition, but a deal is a deal, and a deal has to go for both sides, and Canada will agree a deal that's in the best interest of Canadians. It should not surprise anyone, including the U.S. ambassador, who's doing a very good job, I would add. Thank you. For America.
A few short sentences, but they carried an unmistakable message. Carney acknowledged the ambassador respectfully, yet he left little doubt about Canada's position. Every future agreement will be judged by one standard. Does it benefit Canadians? That doesn't mean cooperation is ending. Quite the opposite. It means cooperation has to work for both countries, not simply satisfy one side's expectations. The broader discussions surrounding energy, steel, critical minerals, and nuclear cooperation may continue in the months ahead. But Carney made it clear that no agreement will move forward unless Canada's interests are fully protected. That approach reflects a negotiating style built on patience rather than pressure. And for many Canadians, that's exactly the leadership they expect to see. Before we look at Canada's response, it's important to understand what Ambassador Pete Hoekstra was actually saying. His concern wasn't simply about trade. He argued that the relationship between Canadians and Americans has changed, saying the business community continues to value the partnership, while many ordinary Canadians appear far less enthusiastic than they once were. Whether you agree with that assessment or not, it raises an important question. Why has public opinion shifted? For many Canadians, the answer isn't difficult to find. Years of trade disputes, tariff battles, political tension, and repeated debates over Canada's sovereignty have changed the way many people view the relationship. Trust is not rebuilt with speeches alone. It takes consistent actions over time. That larger context explains why conversations about trade today carry far more emotion than they did only a few years ago.
Of course, we are going to cooperate directly as we always have. USMCA is strength together. It's strength of the three countries together. That's what makes North America that contributes to North America be the economic envy of the world. And Canada is absolutely committed to work with both our partners. If there's opportunities to improve the agreement, we will pursue those. We can think of some. Our Mexican colleagues can. I'm sure the Americans will as well. That will be informed by our review process. But we'll move forward together, without question. Is that unequivocal enough for you? Because if you want it to be unequivocal...
That single word stood out for a reason. Unequivocal. Carney didn't need dramatic language or political theater to make his point. His answer was direct, controlled, and easy to understand. Canada intends to continue working with both of its North American partners. The USMCA remains an important foundation for regional trade, and Canada believes that cooperation continues to benefit all three countries. At the same time, cooperation should never be confused with surrendering leverage. Carney's message was that Canada welcomes productive discussions, but it will enter those discussions with confidence rather than uncertainty. Sometimes the strongest statement in diplomacy isn't the loudest one. It's the one delivered calmly, without leaving room for misunderstanding. The setting of this press conference also mattered. Carney wasn't speaking from Ottawa. He was in Mexico City, after announcing a new strategic partnership designed to strengthen cooperation between Canada and Mexico across several important sectors, including trade, investment, security, agriculture, and innovation. That backdrop gave additional weight to everything he said. When reporters asked whether Canada and Mexico might eventually pursue separate paths in negotiations with Washington, Carney emphasized the importance of maintaining close cooperation. His answer suggested that strong partnerships create stronger negotiating positions. Rather than viewing cooperation as a weakness, Canada presented it as one of its greatest advantages. For many observers, that was one of the most significant messages to emerge from the entire visit.
North America is the economic envy of the world. It's the most competitive economic region of the world. And part of the reason for that is the cooperation between Canada and Mexico, both of us and the United States. We complement the United States, we make them stronger. We are all stronger together.
One sentence from that clip deserves far more attention than it has received. We make them stronger. That statement changes the entire conversation. For years, discussions about Canada and the United States have often focused on what Canada receives from the relationship. Carney turned that idea around by highlighting what Canada contributes: reliable energy supplies, critical minerals needed for advanced manufacturing, integrated auto production that supports jobs on both sides of the border, agricultural exports that help strengthen North American food security. The message is straightforward. Canada isn't asking for special treatment. Canada isn't asking for favors. Canada is emphasizing that the partnership succeeds because both countries contribute to it. When negotiations begin from that understanding, the conversation becomes far more balanced. Strong partnerships are built on mutual value, not dependence. In the end, this story was never just about one ambassador or one press conference. It was about how Canada chooses to present itself at a time when economic relationships are becoming more important than ever. Mark Carney's appearance in Mexico City offered a clear picture of that approach. Remain open to cooperation, strengthen partnerships with trusted allies, continue discussions with the United States, but make every major decision through the lens of Canada's long-term interests. That doesn't mean closing the door on future agreements. It means making sure every agreement delivers real value for Canadians before any signatures are placed on paper. Whether new negotiations produce a broader deal or maintain the current framework, one message came through clearly. Canada intends to negotiate with confidence, protect its national interests, and continue working with partners who see long-term cooperation as the path forward. What do you think? Did Carney strike the right balance between cooperation and protecting Canada's interests, or would you have preferred a different approach? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your perspective. And if you enjoy balanced, fact-based analysis of the issues shaping Canada's future, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and join us for our next discussion.